AutismSpeaks.org defines autism spectrum disorder as having difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. Autism is characterized by difficulties in behavior, social interaction, and communication. Some unusual behavior that you might see in a child who has ASD are repetitive behaviors to help them reduce uncertainty and maintain the predictability of their environment. Behaviors may include hand flapping, spinning, insistence on sticking to routines, unusually intense or focused interest, and avoidance of everyday sounds and textures. They have difficulty establishing and maintaining relationships, sometimes unable to understand facial expressions, physical gestures, and eye contact. They have impaired ability to share their own interests and activities with other people, and they can see distant, and they can also have delayed speech. Some people who have ASD can speak fluently, but many people who have ASD are speech impaired or unable to speak at all. If they can speak, they use language in very limited or unusual ways. They often repeat words or phrases back to you or ask the same question over and over again. One of the first things that must be identified when working with a child on the autism spectrum is their level of communication. It is common for students with ASD to have limited communication skills, making it increasingly difficult to teach them effectively. In order to overcome this barrier, teachers can implement picture exchange communication system. This system allows the students to use pictures in order to show their teacher or peers what they want to say. For example, they may need to go to the bathroom, in which this case they would point to a picture of the toilet and you would know they have to go. As the student becomes more comfortable with using PECS, they will be able to form sentences by associating the symbols with actual objects. After there has been a system of communication established between the teacher and the student, it will be much easier to actually begin teaching the student material. In order to help facilitate learning, using positive reinforcement is helpful to allow the child to enjoy the learning. In order to accomplish this, many educators employ the discrete trial teaching or the LOVIS model. When using this, teachers break down skills into smaller, more manageable steps that are repeated to allow the student to master the skill. When the child is able to perform the task on their own, they receive positive reinforcement such as congratulating them. This strategy is effective in a wide range of education. For example, it could be used in order to teach a student how to do laundry. Apart from these strategies, it is important to remember the importance of inclusion within the classroom. As educators, we must ensure that all students are being properly accommodated and feel welcome within their own learning environments. If we are unable to give them this, it is likely they will begin to fall behind their peers. One of the early theories behind the cause of ASD is inappropriate or bad parenting. This was a psychogenic theory embraced by Freudian therapists. He believed that if basic psychological bonds aren't made between child and parent, the child has a hard time having relationships with peers. Some genetic contributions are believed to have multiple genes involved, but the mode of the transmission is unclear. Even with all of these theories of the causes for ASD, even today, there is no specific cause for autism spectrum disorders. Randy Mogler is the Resident Service Director at Timber Ridge, a residential home for the handicapped in Morton, Illinois. He supervises the case managers and the speech and language team at the home and has many years of experience with working with people with disabilities. I emailed Randy to learn more from someone with first-hand experience. I asked what instructional strategies and methods that he would recommend for working with people with ASD to help them be successful in the classroom. In his response, he began by writing, "There's a very wide range of abilities, challenges, and approaches when teaching this population." He mentioned two main ways that challenges arise when teaching these students: communication skills and social skills. For instance, he talked about how students with ASD have difficulty understanding the feelings of others, including facial expressions. He says that while communication with these students is very possible, one may need to learn a sort of foreign language in order to do this. He also says that using structure, rituals, and routines to introduce new material and make learning effective for students with ASD. Usually these folks are more visual learners. Shut up and show them is a general rule, Randy writes. He says that while change it can be very difficult for those students, introducing it to them visually before the change occurs is a good strategy to take. He also says that knowing the sensory challenges to expect from the child is extremely important. This sensory input is often in the casual factor in usual responses or behaviors, he writes. Randy concluded his email by saying, "These folks are beautiful people often and carry a burden most people do not understand. They have thoughts and feelings like everyone. They can have a great sense of humor. They want to love and be loved like everyone, but must be taught how."